switch things. The new Trump administration wanted to sack you, and he said they can't. He was very clear.
I wonder if Jay Powell is long gold. It's interesting to hear. These are very powerful people who are making the wise decision to go long gold, and I'm wondering how many other people in the U.S. administration are long gold. If you listen to their words about the unsustainability of the debt, the obvious thing they should be doing behind the scenes, assuming they're allowed to, would be to buy gold. But whether they're actually doing it, we don't really hear that. By the way, Mary, I just wanted to show you my latest gold purchases. Now,
wow.
That's it. Now, as everybody knows, this is Swiss money.
Yeah.
And the beauty of Swiss money is we make it in chocolate. So this is.
Oh, okay. I was. Oh, that's the chocolate money. Okay. I thought you were loading up and talking about loading up on gold, Clive.
The beauty of Swiss money is we don't have any increase in the money supply because we eat it.
Yeah, that's good. Well, talking about like I thought, wow, Clive is buying more gold than the Czech Republic. So this is a topic I wanted to cover as well, Clive. So Gold Telegraph on X, and I recommend people follow Gold Telegraph there if you're on X or Twitter. He says the Czech Republic Central Bank aims to double its gold reserves to 100 metric tons within 3 years. And I guess the head of the bank said, we need to reduce volatility. We need an asset with zero correlation to stocks, and that asset is gold. Gold is the foundation of the monetary system. Well, that's Gold Telegraph. I agree with him. And it's interesting, just one more point here, that Scott Bessent also said he was surprised that Poland has been buying a lot of gold. It was about 75% as recent debt, which is, I'm wondering, Clive, and I'm not trying to be negative, but a realist, whether there's a kind of a debt time bomb that could be detonated in the next year or so, and mainly because of mathematics. We have a lot of debt to be issued by the U.S. Treasury, debt to be rolled over, and the current administration under Yellen's leadership has been aggressive in issuing short-term debt, which has made it really, it switched things around. For example, there's this Bloomberg article here that I'll share, and it shows just how much more debt they're going to have to issue next year because of what Yellen did. Some people criticized her and said that she was doing that in order to take the pressure off the longer end, in order to goose the economy up. But now it's backfired because short-term rates are actually going up, despite the fact that the Fed has cut rates. She, of course, has denied it. But one thing that I think is really interesting here, Clive, is this here in this article. And this article is, of course, behind a paywall. It says Bessent has 6.7 trillion mountain of worry waiting at Treasury. But anyway, this is what I found interesting here. It says the share of Treasury market owned by what are considered price-insensitive buyers, such as the Federal Reserve and foreign central banks and governments, has dropped to around 50%, the lowest since 1997, according to the rate strategists at JP Morgan Chase & Co. Their share was about 75% as recently as 2015. This means that more treasuries are in the hands of investors, such as hedge funds, that are more willing to sell in response to changing market conditions, potentially creating volatility and causing yields to remain higher than otherwise. Interesting, Clive, that they mentioned here 2015, and the Treasury and the Fed have been trying to figure out why there's less liquidity in the Treasury market. It's been a problem, and they actually mentioned 2015. I don't know if you're familiar with that. And it's easy to know why there's less liquidity and the market is thinner. Well, it's because the big institutional buyers, the central banks are absent. And then there's this here, Clive, as well, that I think from a Yahoo Finance article, 5 key charts to the new Treasury Secretary to watch. Here, Besant has said he would like to reduce the deficit as share of gross domestic product to 3%. For fiscal 2024, which ended September 30, it was 7.8% of GDP. And that's adjusted real GDP, because sometimes they come out with a nominal number, and I think that was like 6 point something. And it says GDP has not been this deficit to GDP has not been at 3% or below since the Obama administration. And under Trump, it was quite high as well. And CBO, this who you like to follow a lot, Clive, they said their baseline forecast is 6.1 next year to 5.6 before Trump leaves office. And we know that their forecasts sometimes are too conservative, and that
I think it's fair to say they consistently paint an over-optimistic picture of the debt to GDP ratio and other ratios. I mean, everything. They base their numbers on the official budget, but inevitably, when you have something official, you have unforeseen expenses, and things are always worse than they project.
So,
all right, let me come back here. I can find you. I've lost you. Oh, there you are. We can come back to that. This guy, Mario, very sharp. He's always on point. I find it hard to listen to him because he's always on the verge of stuttering, and he gets his point out, but it's always in this staccato way. I don't know. It's just everybody has their own way of presenting. This guy Clive is very smart too. Of course, his way of presenting is, rather quietly and modestly. Anyway, it's not New York enough for guys like me, but it's good. We'll get back to it. The point I wanted you to see there is, sorry for my look. Ham said he wanted to do a call this morning, and I wasn't really planning on it. The thing I wanted to get across there is that Yellen, probably to juice the election returns, borrowed a ton of money short term. And I don't get why they do this. I think it's almost intentional to help the banks. But she could have gone out when interest rates were near zero. She could have gone out 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, and borrowed money at 1%, 2%, on 3% on the long bond. And now rates are going to be up, and it's going to come out of our pockets. It's going to change our lifestyles. And it's cold here in DC, so I know I look a little odd. Let me make sure this isn't quite as odd as it needs to be. Let me see what you guys are saying. Oh, I had to start a video at the start of the F1 race? Oh, shoot. I don't watch those races, but I know that's exciting. That's pretty cool. I don't know enough about it, but I'd be interested in learning. And that'd be more, for me, it's more fun to sit with somebody that is into it. That's pretty cool. Hey, Cliff. Hey, Roger. What happened with Lion? Yeah, peace, love, happiness, and wealth, most importantly, health. Absolutely. Although there's some joke about a guy golfing. said something about, where did health ever get me? I can't remember the joke. It's good to have work. You're running for mayor? Newman, California. We can all send you donations for your run as mayor. We can do that. Trying to see, there's a lot from Mark and Lion, but I'm trying to see where the news is. Good morning. Good morning. Hey, Casey. Thank you, and Matt. Ham comes on at 11, so 20 minutes almost, 20 minutes. Maestro. I was supposed to have an eye scheduled tomorrow eye appointment, but they moved it to next week. And my operation, I think, is Martin Luther King's birthday or the day after. Anyway, but guess what? I can't, it's gotten worse. I can't, this whole side, I can't see anything. So if I'm bad at reading, my apologies. Good morning, Lion. Good morning, Mark. UPS Teamsters, wow. UPS. So anyway, I don't know what Ham wants to get off his chest, but he has to play pickleball. So you all are on his schedule. It looks like I got lucky last night. Well, every night, Lucky sleeps next to me. Most of the night. Poor guy. Now I find women confusing. That's a politer word than what I might otherwise use. So I want to suggest to each of you, if you haven't gotten a position, that I think NIXX, as I've nicknamed it, Sexy Nixie, I think it might be something to consider buying some shares of over the next few days. I don't know when it breaks out of this support range, but it's in the support, and you know, it's got targets all the way up. I wouldn't get overly optimistic on the upside, but I bet it could go to, I don't know, could it go to 80? Maybe. But I think it could go to 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. But these targets up here are in the hundreds, and that like 150, 160. I'm not saying be there for that. It could happen, but it just became called Nixie here, and it's a new company. This is all an old company called recruiter.com. But anyway, I don't know how it is in the rest of the world. In DC, from November onward, it just feels like slow motion, holiday, all the way through. So my own view is that stock could be cheaper over the next handful of days. Maybe not, but it could be. But that might be the last chance to buy it below 3. And I fully think Nixie's going to be $5, $8. I don't know, let's say by mid-month. My projections are not promises. They're just guesswork. But that's what I think is going to happen. And then, if it breaks out, which is really what I think this chart is showing because of its last two efforts at breaking out, third time's the charm. I would guess, looking at this chart, 30 is achievable, 40 definitely, and I'd say 60 to 80 is certainly possible, and heck, it could go over 100. There's a lot of nice targets in that chart. Lion could probably do a better analysis than mine. I heard some information a little bit about MMTLP that I want, before I talk about it, I want to learn more, and I've asked around. But it looks like the SEC and the powers that be are going to go after, I don't know, for lack of a better word, the community rather than going after the shorts. It may be that the SEC is accurate in what they're going after. I'm not saying that. But both things can also be true, that this Torchlight, MMAT, MMLT, and now Nextbridge have all been under attack by criminals. That can be true simultaneously with whatever else is alleged. And I just want to find out more of it. If you know anything, go ahead and type it up and we can talk about it. I happen to agree. I think it was Kit who said that possibly GDC looks like it could go. I don't know. He has a better sense of timing technically, but I kind of agree with him on that one. Finger, there's supposed to be good news this week potentially, and I still believe Finger can be a double without any short story at all. And then what else? I'm sure we'll come up with other things to talk about. To me, MLSS looks like it's going to go up. But you can ask Cam about that when he comes on. Yeah, I'm running out of things to say. Remember to say your prayers about peace in the world, because I'm frightened. But as somebody told me, each one of us can't really do much about it. But it does show it's not how much you spend on defense, it's how you spend it. And it doesn't look like we have weaponry that can I guess we got the big mama, we've got the big bombs, but it ain't pretty, and we don't need to be in World War III is all I know. Ever since Lion challenged you to a poetry slam, he's been practicing with his bird. I'm not a poet. I'm not a poet. I can sometimes quote other people's prose. Mostly Bruce Springsteen. The screen door slams. Mary's dress waved. Like a vision she dances across the porch while the radio played. Hey, it's me and I want you. No, while the radio played, Roy Oberson sang for the lonely. Hey, it's me and I want you only. Come turn me on again. I just can't face the world alone. You know just what I'm here for. The front door is open, but the ride ain't free. I am cold. I'm very cold. And then I got to tell you, this is a big apartment, and it's got some old thermostat, and I can't figure that thermostat out. So normally it's all right, but DC is cold today. So I've got a heater, and normally before I go live, this part of the house gets warm, but I came here while it was still cold. So I am cold. All we are saying is give peace a chance. I'm reading this book by Jim Rickards, and it too is about 10 years out of date. And what's really interesting, some of the projections he's making, just like some of the other guys, the oil and the financial guys that I've read some to you, it's like everything got shunted. None of the projections really came true. So we have a choice. I mean, you always have a choice. You can just not listen at all. But we have a choice of, does that mean they're wrong? All these analysts are wrong in their theories? Or is there an explanation why everything got shunted forward by so many years? And my guess is quite a bit of it's explained by the pandemic. Moved things. It sped some things up, but it moved the day of reckoning out a bit. I also think the Fed and the rest of the central banks have been more successful at moving things outward. But there's a concept in here which we all intuitively know, but it might explain the whole thing. And that is that the United States has been in a depression since since Obama, and maybe just before Obama, but we've been in a depression. This is not a, there's two terms, or three terms when you're talking about cycles. There's secular, there's cyclical, and there's structural. And structurally, his argument, which he wrote, I don't know, 12 years ago, is that the United States is in a structural depression. It doesn't show up in our financial numbers constantly. But it's an interesting thing to think about. So what that brings up is deflation. And what the central bank wants, and the banks around the world want, and the government wants, is inflation. Inflation. Deflation ain't pretty. And Jim Rickards points out, he starts all of his lectures by asking how many 90-year-olds are in the audience, because now, after this, you'd have to be pushing 100 to have lived through the last time the United States had a depression. Structurally. What's wrong, lucky boy? What's wrong? What's wrong? When Ham comes on, I'll come get you, all right? So anyway, we'll talk about it more, but it leads me to believe that it's far more likely that the policies coming out of the government and out of the central bank is money, 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 printing money. juicing defense spending, juicing infrastructure, spending money any way they can just to get inflation going, because depression is devastating to asset values, to governments, because their obligations become more, I guess, for lack of a better word, more real. Thank you. I wish I could just see out of this eye. Here, let me get my dog. He can't get his legs up and he's struggling. Hang on. All right, good boy. That's a good boy. That's a good boy. That's a good boy. That is a good boy. So anyway, Lee, all I'm saying out of that is, going forward, I think there's going to be money printing and fiscal. I don't think there's a tightening coming. He was writing about it, and he said we hadn't seen inflation yet. I think we have seen inflation. I bought a box of cereal, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, and when I opened it, it was from Trader Joe's, so it wasn't that expensive. But when I opened it, it was only half full. It's the same kind of size box, but it was half full. So there is inflation, and that's the other thing you have to worry about. Inflation can get out of control very rapidly. Anyway, we've got changes ahead of us. When you project in Y2K, yeah, they that didn't work. Doesn't mean that other projections won't be right. So you're right about that. Okay. Yeah, that's it, and that's not the only one. That wasn't the only prediction that didn't come true, but that's a good point. That's what I have. I have a what is this called? Perfect air heater, and it's great. It's great. I have an electric heater sitting right here. Here, I'll show it to you. See? And it's perfect. I love it. I love it. All right. We have seen enough, but that's the other side of it. He's talking about. I'm only that far through the book. I'm sure he'll give me a little bit more. I just opened to this page. This is something I'm aware of, and we've talked about, but he's talking about a lot of the debt out there that went to drill shale oil. That in the middle of the last decade was going bad, and it's $7 trillion or $5 trillion. Sorry, $5 trillion. Well, that never killed the market. That's what I'm saying. It got delayed, but we now have commercial debt. We have that shale oil debt. There's emerging market countries that took debt out in dollars. So there's trillions of, let's call it commercial debt, public, I don't want to call it public, commercial debt that's out there, which is really not performing. And somehow it hasn't caused trouble yet. But when debt collapses, that's deflationary. And so they just keep trying to kick it down the road. And it goes with what I've I guess I've been talking about for over a year, is that they'll take us to war. And war is a great way of spending a lot of money. But I don't think we can win this war. Yeah, that was, I bought it at Aces, the place. And I got a discount on it because they always send you these cards if you're a member. So I think I paid $70 for it. That's not bad. And it keeps me warm. All right, so Ham should be calling. Let me get the speaker prepared. My eyesight's really bad. I don't have any depth perception.
Feels like
It just happened in the last 3 days that it's like there's nothing here. Kind of scary. Kind of scary. All right, that's ready for him. What else did I want to talk to you about? That's basically it. I'm not seeing any topics of discussion here. Good morning. Good morning. Can I explain why I think Nix is going to make a run? Well, my number one, why I think it's a good, this is about 3 weeks old, but I think the support is very clear in this chart for months. So I think your risk is very little. Obviously, anything can happen, but I think the risk to the downside is little. Nixie announced that they changed the name. They acquired a company called Got to Have It, which is a wholesaler, which I think from reading the material has been around for a long time. Who
Andy.
I just got to get you
the speaker on.
Yep, there it is. It's on.
One day I'm going to learn what that speaker is and figure it out.
It's a Bose.
Okay, I don't know. Anyway, everyone, I just wanted to touch base on Sunday morning. I called William, super excited about all the stuff that's going on. And I think you really need to be ready for a great week, coming weeks, whatever. It could be tomorrow for all I know. But the appointment of Pam Bondi to be the U.S. Attorney General, well, we found out that she actually owns 100-something thousand shares of DJT plus some warrants in DJT. And you all know that she is 100% aware of Devin Nunes and Donald Trump's stock and what's going on here. And I can guarantee you that I'm not in that political circle with these in their positions they are, but this thing is going to get fixed. Naked short selling is going away, and it's going to go away fast. And all the billionaires and millionaires that are caught in this are going to jail. It's going to go down. You have life-changing situations where you can make a ton of money. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I know where I am. I know what I figured out, where the place to be. You figure it out yourself. But this shit is going down, and these people are going to jail. Jeff Easton doesn't stand a chance in this arena. You're going against the most powerful people in the world. We have the most powerful man in the world with the president, Donald Trump, on our side. I said it many times before. If you're shorting the president of the United States stock, you are committing suicide. You're out of your mind. And what did they do? They continue to do it because they can't get out. It's going to cost them billions and billions of dollars. And guess what? Payback's a bitch. If you own brokerage firm stocks, be careful. I think they can really take a tumble. VIRT is going to be a zero. You know, Jefferies, all these companies have been inflated. Interactive brokers, they're all caught naked short selling. That's how they make their money, Goldman, all of them. If you're long those things, I know they moved up and we've been talking about it, but you know what? The opposite side of this trade is the shorted stocks are going to go up. And these big firms that have prime broker services that lend money to these criminals are going to take a bath. They're going to take a beating because it all goes back to them. The short sellers like Jeff Easton are going to file for bankruptcy or wherever they're going to do. They're going to run and hide. They're going to get caught. They don't have any more money. Whoever's been fronting the trades is going to get caught. All right, and that's the opportunity is just enormous. Again, you know, DJT is a $31 stock. You know, these things are going to go. I don't know how much juice is left in GameStop. That's your own decision. You can figure that out. The company's been raising money. You know, there was rumors around Friday the company's going to raise more money. That's why the stock sold off. So be careful with that one. You can find other ones that you like. You know, I think there's going to be hedge funds, long hedge funds, looking for ways to participate on the upside. The trade is to the upside, not the downside anymore. All right, and that's why the market's been sort of, you know, melting up, is because shorts have been covering, and you know, I think the leverage on the short side has basically been getting tighter and tighter, but it hasn't moved to the smaller names yet, and I think it's coming. Do you have anything to say, William? Or
well, here's one for you. Can you ask Cam how the dividend and FNGR
It's a world of possibility.
will affect the break-even point for the shorts?
How it will affect the break-even point?
Yeah.
It drives it lower.
Okay.
They're short more shares, and the cost basis is they don't get any money for it. It's not like they sold it at $4. It's zero. Listen, that is the dividend is a backstop. So all the stuff that we didn't know, all the unknown certainty that we now know is coming down the road. How many people thought, you know, months ago, even you, William, Trump is not going to win. He's not going to get in.
I never said he wouldn't win. I just said they wouldn't let him in. That's my.
They wouldn't let him in. Whatever. I'm not making. I'm just saying that.
But you're right. I was wrong. I was wrong
no,
with my.
I'm saying that people listen. It's uncertain. You don't know. No one knows. But all that is now off the table, and now he's appointing people that actually know his situation, know about his company. You know, he's putting Cash Patel in charge of the FBI. So anyone at the FBI who's had all these complaints and covering up all these hedge funds that have been looting, whether Ken Griffin, there's big players here. You know, there's powerful people here. And now they're all exposed. And Trump has people he's putting in place have no allegiance to anybody but to Trump and to the American people. So this is going to get interesting. Those who want to stay into the bottom of the ninth, they're going to go to jail for the longest time. All right, they're going to lose a lot of money. People are going to jail, and it's just starting to warm up. Figure out what's going on. You got till January 20th. I think the game's going to get. Wall Street likes to get ahead of the curve. If anyone hasn't figured that out yet, they like to get in before the news comes. That's the whole thing on Wall Street. Be ahead of the curve. People don't like to buy and be the last person in. We want to be the first people in. And that's why I have calls on Saturdays and Sundays and early Mondays, because I like to get in first before it happens. That's the way we were trained. And the news flow is just off the charts. You know, I didn't know Pam Bondi owned DJT. Obviously, they all know what's going on at DJT. Trump knows about it. Devin Nunes knows about it. Everyone knows they're naked shorting the stock. And I told you before, he has to clean that up before he becomes the president and before he's sworn in. And here it is. It's coming to a head. There's people going to come in. And we don't know who the SEC chair yet is, but it seems like they're warming up to. They're going to release that statement, which we've been hearing about naked short selling. So the day he says naked short sellers go to jail, these stocks, you won't even be able to touch them. So you figure out what your risk tolerance is. You figure out what you need to do yourself. But what's happening here is coming down super fast now. And you know what? There's an opportunity again to change your life. I mean, I got it this morning. I didn't know Pam Bondi owned the stock. Now, Cash Patel's going to head of the FBI. All these shitheads, you know, we reported to the FBI many times. Well, I know they're taking our information, just throwing it into a pile. All right, when it comes down, that Trump is going to put an SEC chairman in here, whoever it may be. I got this feeling they're going to come out with a big statement about stock settlement, naked shorts, counterfeit shares. Add that to the Pam Bondi, Cash Patel, locking these people up. These people are going to start going down and start covering quickly. And that's just how I feel. I think that you need to be aware of it, be on top of it. The news, read the news. I know it's my opinion about it. Figure it out yourself. My opinion is just something I'm just reading. I have no inside information on what Trump is going to say, what he's going to do. I do not. I just told you what we're hearing. We heard it from the Devin Nunes side. And, this is all hearsay, rumor. That's what we're hearing. Now Trump is making moves to putting his own people in place that are going to be pro-Trump, pro-U.S., and this shit's going to hit the fan. And I told you before, the more they fuck around with DJT, the better it is for us. Anybody else have any questions?
Do you think the fact that Finger is a Chinese stock will have any problem with the new administration?
Yes, Donald Trump hates Chinese food. But that's a stupid question. First of all, Finger Motion is a U.S. company. Finger Motion is Nike, it's Starbucks, it's Tesla. They're U.S. companies that do business in China. Go look at it yourself. I'm not making it up. They have great connections in China. Do you think Elon Musk has good connections in China? Or maybe the chairman of Nike, they have good connections in China? Yes. Starbucks has good connections in China, I'm sure.
Ultra, junk savvy.
Big Starbucks in China because they didn't have no people there. You think China didn't know that they were opening up all over the place, a U.S. company? That's a stupid question. I'm sorry, but that's what it is.
Okay. Is there a rumor of a big news on Monday for Finger?
There's been rumors about it. The CEO told us there's other deals coming. I don't know. I hope. Listen, what the company does, it's very difficult to get information when things come out, what happens. There's lawyers, there's governments involved. I don't count on that stuff. If the company's going in the right direction, that's good enough for me. Everything the company has said they were doing has moved in that direction. So to me, if it comes out Monday, it's great. If it comes out Tuesday, it's great. The most important thing in this stock is stock settlement. That's the most important thing. And people ask me about Northwest Bio, William, and I agree, like William. Northwest Bio has been fighting this battle for, they haven't really fought the battle. That's number one. I reached out to them when the stock was $4 through shareholders introduced me to them. One of them was Dirty Mayo, introduced me to them a long time ago. And they chose to do nothing but to continue to dilute and build their product. So again, they were never really for the shareholders. They were here to build a company, just like CVM does the same thing. Just like CELU. All these companies, MULN, GNS, they all say the right thing. But at the end of the day, what do? They dilute the stocks. And then they come out and say they got naked shorts on it and they want help. Northwest Bio, I know a lot of people own it. I hope it works. It's brain cancer. Friends of mine has died from it. But as an investment, it's a tough play because the company now has over 1 billion shares in the float. I think when I was first meeting these people, it was 100 million shares. Now it's over 1 billion. And that is the destruction of naked shorts, is basically they keep flooding the market with more shares. And the more shares that go into the company, the market caps get destroyed. They're all out of whack. So I hope it works. I hope everybody makes money in it. But for me, I think you got to go find other plays. Go find other things that haven't got destroyed yet. For example, like I said, CELU, I met the CEO. What did he do? He did the exact opposite of what I told him to do. He went out, took more money. They wind up getting, the stock went down to 12 cents. He reversed it, went back to $8, and now it's below 2 again. That's what naked short sellers do. And I don't know what the reverse was, but you know what? If he reversed it by 30%, the shorts took 30% off the table already. And that's how these guys profit. And then when the stock opens up at 7 again, they just reshort that 30% that they just got for free, and they do it again. That's how this game is played. And finger motion has done everything possible to be in our favor, and that's why I stay with them. If they start turning on us, then I'll have a different approach to it, but I haven't seen it. Go ahead, Brian.
That's about all the questions that are.
Okay, so I have a couple of thoughts. Number one, if you are playing any stock, make sure you use limits. And you say, what do you mean by a limit? Let's say you go to buy DJT tomorrow and you want to pay $32 for it. Use the 32 limit, where you maybe you want to pay 32, use the $32.50 limit. And you say, why would I pay more? Well, if the stock is offered at 32, you'll pay 32. You won't pay 32.50. But if the stock starts to run, the most you're going to pay is 32.50. And the reason I tell you to use the limit is because I remember my friend Rhonda. She went to buy some stock. Excuse me?
Help me, Rhonda.
Help me, Rhonda. Well, she needed the help back then. She went to buy 10,000 shares of a stock. I remember it, and it gapped up. She got caught in the short squeeze as it happened. She gave the order to the desk. We executed it. She wanted to buy 10 or 20,000 shares of some stock. I forgot the symbol. I'm not sure the exact number. Let's say it was 10. She gave it. She wound up paying 20 for it. And by the time we reported that she bought the 20,000 shares at 20, the stock was already back down to 10. It had a quick squeeze up and then it collapsed. And she wound up losing like $200,000 because she just bought it at the market. We can't do anything about it. When you put an order in to buy at the market, we execute it at the market. So just be careful when you're playing these games. These things can have violent swings. So when you're selling, do the same thing. Let's say you want to sell DJT and it's $31.50. You say, I like to sell DJT at $30.50. You may get $31.50. You may get $32. But the least amount you're going to get is $30.50 if someone's buying it there. Never sell it at the market, because imagine if it dropped real quick, you could be selling it down to $10, and then the stock turns and goes right back up again. So just be careful when you use limits, especially in these very volatile stocks. When they get volatile, it's very dangerous. Does everyone understand that, William? Do you understand that?
I understand that.
Just want to make sure use limits. You can use a limit. You can use it. You can use $1 higher if you like, but use a limit. Don't ever put a market order in. You'll get killed. That's it. What I'm trying to say is that if you want to buy it at the market, instead of saying buying at the market means whatever it is, you're just picking a number. You could pick it. You could put it up $5 higher for all I care. You could say the stock is 30. Say I don't want to buy 1,000 shares of DJT. Use the $35 top. That's the limit. That's as high as you want to go. You may buy it at $30.10, but the most you will ever pay is $35.
Right.
As long as you understand that. Another quick lesson. And don't forget to put in GTC orders when you want to sell them. Pick a number. You want to sell, let's say you have finger motion at $2 and it gaps to 10 or 12. If you don't have an order out there, you can't sell it. Let's say it gaps at 50. If you don't have an order out there, you never sell it.
And the other aspect of that is, if you have an order out there and the stock price runs through your price, they owe it to you. If, on the other hand, well, the bid technically the bid has to run through, but just to keep it simple, if it runs through, you're done. But if you wait and put it in, you may or may not get it. And they'll say it was a fast moving market. We didn't get it in. Anyway, it's just better to have the order in there.
You want to sell DJT at 31.
Yeah.
And it trades at 31.01. Trading at 31.01. You can't trade at 31.01 unless it trades at 31.
Right.
And you're entitled to your sale. That's all you need to know. Don't let Wall Street use any loophole they can against you. So that's why you use limits. That's why you put good till cancel orders in. Control your destiny. Don't let Wall Street take care. Don't let Wall Street rip you off.
And
They
they
rip you
will
off anyway, but just be aware.
rip you off less.
They take whatever's left is what you have.
So finger rumors. What are the sources of these rumors? Haven't we seen
They
this
came out of
movie
Hong Kong,
before?
but listen, there's the shareholders. We have a lot of Asian shareholders here, people from Asia. They hear things. I'm not in Asia, I'm close to Chinatown in Manhattan. Maybe that's the best I can do for you. That's all I can get. When I go to get Chinese food, I'll ask. I don't know.
I mean, you don't have to believe that there's a rumor out there.
No, listen,
But
the company,
middle ground, if you want information flow, that's what Ham is hearing. He's saying it's a rumor, so it's not guaranteed. It's just a rumor, and you don't have to invest or buy or sell or do anything. It's just like finding out whether that Meghan Markle might be leaving Harry, whatever his last name
well,
is.
how about the rumors that are going around every day about NVIDIA? NVIDIA is caught up in a scandal, NVIDIA this, NVIDIA that. There's a whole bunch, there's a zillion rumors going around on NVIDIA every day. Are they good? Are they false? I have no idea. Yet NVIDIA on Friday closed up $3. All I'm hearing from people is, be careful, it's going to crash. So the way I handle that is, hey, I'm not involved in NVIDIA, and nor would I tell anyone to do it. I've always told people when stocks run that far, there's always going to be a tax on them. So just get the hell away from it. Go find something else.
And I emphasize if, but you don't have to, but if finger squeezes, do you expect violent movements in the price?
Yes, only very different than the other. I think the violent move is going to be like HKD or DRUG, where it just gapped up. DRUG was 2, went to 79 in 2 days. Those are the moves you're going to see. The opposite of that would be a stock like Root. Root exploded to 60 to 40, 40 to 120, 120 to 65, back up to 110, down to 90, back up to 100. That's a controlled buy-in. Finger motion is just going to have a panic buy-in, meaning that whoever's short, the order is going to come in and say, this guy is short 230 million shares. You buy every share until he's flat, because the prime broker is liable. So they will run and cover as fast as they can to protect them from losing any money. Once they start that panic buy-in, they have to keep going, because the word on Wall Street will get around, and they all know that people, good people, not people like me or my friends, we won't front run a big buy order. Everyone on Wall Street will front run any buy-in that people know about. So if my good friend works at, let's say, Morgan Stanley's desk, and they have a buy-in order to buy as much as they can, do you think that guy on that desk doesn't tell his friends, go back to GameStop? Why do you think all those people were running and buying those shares? They knew the guy Berlin Capital. They knew the orders were around to cover. So they were running in front of him and just kept punishing him. That's how Wall Street works. Just remember, everybody on this phone, if you had that order in your hand to buy 230 million shares, let's say 400 million shares of GameStop, okay, and you had that order to buy it at the market, you're going to get up and say, excuse me, I have to go to the bathroom, run into the bathroom, and call everybody you know to go run to buy the stock. That's what you're going to do. And that's what they all do. And all their friends go run and buy. Just go look at all the people that were front running or were buying GameStop. All the big names that jumped into it. Do you think they all knew, oh, GameStop's $200, it's going to 500? They knew it. They didn't know anything. They knew someone was short. The word was all over the street, and that's why they were buying it. You think people buy $200 stocks? How much risk is on a stock that just went from 4 to 200? People don't do that. They know the orders are around. And they didn't care that Berlin Capital and Stevie Cohen, all those people were losing money. They didn't care. They just ran in front of it. What was the guy's name from San Francisco? Something Palomado, something like that, an Indian name. I forgot his name. A big money manager. He made a big statement that he was buying call options on $250 calls on GameStop at the time. He's a famous money manager. I forgot his name. And he went out there and he made a big noise about it. He was buying calls at GameStop at 200. He was buying big options. He was only buying because they knew somebody was being bought in. They don't go out and speculate like that. Give me a break.
Beside the dividend, what else can Finger do to put pressure on the shorts?
You have, listen, let the company's doing what it has to do. The company has to act according to rules in the SEC. They're doing everything they can to protect us. You just got the gift from the heavens that Donald Trump won. He's putting his people in charge. Pam Bondi is going to be the Attorney General of the United States. She owns DJT stock. President Trump is going to put someone in the SEC. The pressure on DJT will ignite all the short sales. That's all you need to know. That to me is all I need to know. I'm sure Pam Bondi and Devin Nunes and everyone else is not sitting there saying, hey, don't forget to buy finger motion in. Or let's don't forget to buy MULN. And, there's going to be a blanket statement. Naked short sellers, if you fail to deliver, you're going to jail. That's how it's going to come out. And obviously the names that are out there, finger motion, whether it's GameStop or AMC or DJT or MULN, all these stocks that have shorts in it are going to start to panic. And all the little thieves that are here that have been trying to steal quarters and $1 every day on the short side, naked short selling, the Web Bushes, these guys are all going to be in a panic because they have liability. Web Bush, if they're clearing for people, they're going to take the liability for it. They don't want to go out of business because some hedge fund is short, a million shares of a stock and they're going to lose $20-30 million. So these guys are going to do what they can to protect themselves. So look for prime brokers to start the game by protecting themselves.
Okay. My answer to that would be, you're going to see it soon. It's going to be the pressure on the shorts coming from predictable, repeatable, and growing revenue, cash flow, and earnings. Positive earnings are going to drive the shorts crazy. That's my opinion.
Well, listen, I agree with you on that, but that's the upcoming stuff.
Right.
I'm looking at stuff tomorrow. Tomorrow, it's all about Pam Bondi, Cash Patel, Donald Trump,
Right.
forcing these people to cover.
Right.
And going after them for criminal offenses. Okay? What the company is doing is basically, we have a $2.05 stock that has a company that's behind us, putting things in place to make sure that we have a higher price and get rid of the shorts. They're putting all those things in place, which is the dividend, the earnings, and all these things that they need to do. Those are all things that are happening behind the scenes.
Okay.
Which is, one may drop on Tuesday, one may drop on Monday, maybe one day the dividend may drop on the 14th. I don't know. The earnings come out, January, whatever. These are things that are all up and coming. You're talking between now and Christmas, we're talking 15 trading days. All of a sudden you're getting major people in our camps on our side of the fence. From Pam Bondi, Cash Patel, Donald Trump, Devin Nunes, all these things are in our favor, attacking naked short selling. And Pam Bondi owns 100 and some thousand shares of DJT, and that to me is game, set, and match. She knows what she's doing. She knows Devin Nunes. You don't think they speak? They all know.
I just want to be clear with everybody. None of this is individual financial advice. We don't know you individually. It's just a general discussion of the market and ideas and what's happening and all that.
Right. Because if we don't say that, we get in trouble. This is our opinions. I've said that 1,000 times. It's our opinion.
And yeah, exactly. Ham has said that over and over. I've said it.
I can't say it anymore. If I forget to say it one day, this is my opinion. If you can't see the direction that naked short selling is coming to an end. Listen, GameStop just went up from $18 to $32. Okay, forget about what happened in the past. It squeezed to 80. Those rules, the company coverage, something just made it forced to go back up again, right? There could be someone trying to initiate a squeeze there. I don't know. DJT in a couple of months just went from $12 and went to what, 57. These things there's things behind the scenes that I don't know what's going on in DJT. I'm just seeing the news. Maybe the squeeze to 57 was anticipation of a Trump victory, Pam Bondi getting involved. These are things that were happening that we didn't know. All right, but all these things have effects on the stock. Now, does it affect the finger motion? Finger motion is a small potatoes compared to the bigger game, but we are in that loop. Trust me, our name is way out there. Anything else, Liam?
Finger squeeze will go as well as the GTII squeeze. Ha, ha, ha. Yeah. I mean, everybody has an opinion.
Now, listen, for that person who is a complete buffoon, finger motion, okay, is very different than GTII. It is trading. GTI is not trading. GTII, for the buffoon, and everyone here listening, because I'm going to call out that buffoon, GTII is the only company, okay, that has proof from the federal government there's a naked short in the stock through Alpine and the Kramers. It's right there. It's in legal documents. It's in court documents. It's very well known. We can't control it. We expose the criminals. We expose the short. And the government has now got to clean it up. It's right there. So, and to the gentleman who said that, the buffoon, the people that have been following me for a while know that I was talking about GTI way below $1. It went to 9, thanks to that gentleman, Big Lou, who passed away. He's the one that pushed everybody into GTI at way high numbers. Okay, we were talking at it below $1. So as far as I'm concerned, and I know people lost money, and I got it. But for the buffoon, as far as I'm concerned, when I was talking about it, it was below $1. It went to 9. Think about that. Make it $10. It went to $90. If you bought the stock at $2, it went to 20. It went to 90. Bought it at 3, 30 to 90. 4, 40 to 90. If you bought a stock at $40 and it was $90 and you didn't sell it, shame on you. If you paid $50 for it, or $5, it went to 9. 50 to 90 plus $40. Just change the numbers. It's the same number, same percentage. So I can't help it if you don't understand the stock market, but the information is proven there. Any court of law, we posted it 1,000 times. So for the buffoons that post that stuff, that is an asinine answer, and it's someone who has no idea about the equity market. All right.
Okay, let's go on.
I told everybody it was the biggest crime in U.S. history, in global history, and that's what it is.
That guy's responding. You guys are all talk, no real knowledge. Anyway, we're not going to answer that, Sandy. We're not going to answer that.
Tell Sandy go take a ship in his hat. Get lost. So what is he listening to the call for?
He's obviously getting paid to be here. It's not worth it.
Sandy from 13th Avenue in Brooklyn. Thank you, Sandy. Good luck.
Yeah. What's on 13th Avenue? Is that under the bridge?
Yeah, 13th Avenue. That's where that crew is from. All that a lot of naked short sellers that come from. They know who they are.
They shuffle to the street. Do you have a time frame for the squeeze and finger? And how long? Hours, days, weeks?
The whole thing is going to be fast. It could, if I'm correct, I think it could squeeze to the heavens and then pull down. It's going to go up like a rocket, and then it's going to fall like an elevator. let's say it goes, I'm just going to make up a number. Let's say it goes to 500. 500, it can drop to 100. Then 100, it can bounce back up to 250. Then 250, it can drop back down to 70. This is after the squeeze happened. So I obviously think it's going way higher. So I'm saying 2,000. It goes back to 1,000. It goes back up to 1,500. If you look at it, and I'll give you an example of that, is KOSS. Oh, you can actually use Root. Root's in real time. Root just squeezed up to 100 and whatever it was, 120. Right, 120. Then it dropped back to 65. Rallied back up to 110. Dropped to 90. Those are the type of swings that happen after a squeeze has happened. That's normal. Those are the normal things.
And those targets are all if it squeezes, obviously, which is the predicate.
I'm just trying to show you that when you have a stock that's squeezing like crazy, what have I said 1,000 times? Keep making sales, get your money off the table, and this way you can handle those crazy volatile days that come at the end of
Well, I like what you've taught. I mean, it's a thought that I really hadn't ever thought of before. In a lot of these stocks, you can take your money off the table early and you can build a portfolio of shares you own for free. It's interesting.
That's the most important thing. I used to have positions. I would have $500,000 invested, and in 3 days I would have 25,000 invested. Taking my money off the table, instead of having 100 shares, I would have 30 shares of 7 different plays with no money on the table.
It's interesting.
Yeah. And every once in a while, one would pop and say, "Okay, well, I had 20 on the table, 20,000 on the table still. Hey, this one play just made me 40,000 with my 300 shares, whatever I had left. And you know what? Now I have 0 invested, and I still got 6 plays to go."
Yeah.
And that's how you can stay longer in the game. And shame on me, because in GameStop, I got out. The highest was 118.
Anything happening with MLSS?
I told you about that. The news is on the table. There's nothing I can say. This news is on the table. I don't know who's selling it, but it looks like a short seller. But I think that the news is great. Just read the news yourself. Listen, if you're married, you can ask your wife, if you have children, if she ever got a spinal tap, right? Mm-hmm. Or an epidural. An epidural. And she'll say, "Yeah, oh my God, it was so important that if they didn't put the needle in the right spot, you would get all these complications." That's what this company does. If you read the news yourself, I told you what we heard. That's all I know. I don't know anything about it. I'm just going to stay with it. And, I believe it's going to work its way higher. It's just an investment. That's it.
Did your large buyer of Kodak secure his profits?
No, he's moved it back to 8.
8. Well, it could happen. It could happen.
I've had people get out at 7. I had people get out at a bunch of places. One thing on Wall Street, you can't call a money manager up and say, "Hey, get out now." They don't like to be told what to do. That's why they manage big money. I'm a trader, so if I paid 4.5 or 5 for a couple 100,000 shares and it's 7 bid, that's 2 points on 500. That's $1 million on a $5 stock. That's to me is that to me is a play. But these guys want to stay forever, and that's what they do. I can't. Listen, I'm here to survive. I'm not here to become Warren Buffett and become Fidelity Management.
Wow, this guy is saying, Pete is saying Matt Getz and MTG both own DJT shares. That's interesting.
Oh, I didn't know he did too. Thank you. I didn't know that until this morning.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
Well, everybody that's important to Donald Trump owns his shares. Everyone that's in the stock knows Devin Nunes, right? Devin Nunes has made 40 statements about going after the short sellers. He said he's going to punish them. He's called the NASDAQ. He's called FINRA. Matt Gaetz has signed a letter for MMTLP, all those sort of things. All right. So, again, I can't tell you but this smells like it's ready to get on fire, all these plays. And that's why I wanted to touch base with you. Be aware, it's Sunday, be ready for Monday. If you wanted to buy a name, use a limit. If you wanted to sell it, put a limit, do whatever you like to do. But if you just read the news, just like this gentleman just told us, I didn't know Matt Gates owned it also. And he's well aware of making short selling because he signed a letter on MMTLP. You know, that's really, you can go read it from the MMTLP community. Listen, this fraud is coming to an end. Everyone knows they're stealing money. And DJT is well aware of what's going
on. Looking for more questions.
Listen, again, you know, I'll just recap it. For the GTI people, news is on the tape. It's all over the place that we caught the short. It's through Alpine. Richard Hoffman talks about it all the time. And if that idiot would just pay attention and listen to Richard Hoffman, that stock is not dead. There's companies that want to merge into there. So they have management out. The courts are in control of that company right now. They're going to put a new company in when they clean it up and start trading. And then that jerk off can open his mouth and see what happens. But he'll never show up. Sandy is just a big mouth paid for by somebody. Good. Next question.
Somebody was asking, who do you think will be the SEC chairman instead of Patrick?
There was a rumor that guy Atkins, some guy named Atkins.
Oh, yeah.
He was an SEC commissioner in 2002 to 2008. I actually went and researched it myself. See, that's what you call doing a little work.
So he's the guy that pushed through Reg's show? That's swell.
I don't know if he was part of that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't read what he did. He found some big, he was part of it. His claim to fame, he was some sort of Ponzi scheme that he uncovered. I don't know, some $1 billion Ponzi scheme. That's what it was on. That's what it said. But he was under the umbrella of SEC chair Chris Cox. Chris Cox is famous for the video, which I probably posted maybe 900 times, of him calling naked short selling a
Chris
crime.
Cox. Chris Cox. Yeah. Was he after Atkins?
No, he was the chair after Atkins.
Okay.
Atkins got in 2000. Right. He was there 2002 to 2008.
Okay.
And
he was Bush's
Cox
guy, I guess.
Cox was 2005 to 2008, and that's when he did that famous video where he called it, you know, fraudulent naked short selling, and that there needs to be tighter rules, and that was the Reg Shale era.
I got
So
you.
my question to Atkins was, as an SEC commissioner, what was his? I don't know, what was his stance on it? I put it up on Twitter. I don't know the guy. What did he do? Just sit silent while everybody was talking about naked short selling, or did he know about it, say something about it, and never did anything about it? I don't know.
Do you think the warrant is by the end of the year is real, or is it hearsay?
Well, you know what? I would say that we're not sure. But the CEO said it in a video with William. If you just Google and see the CEO tell you, he expects to have the audit done and everything by mid-December. That's what the CEO say.
There's a lot riding on the audit, and the audit is because their previous auditors, for whatever reason, got out of whatever field they're in. So they had to replace it. I don't know what PBOC means. So anyway, they got out of that. So they had to get a new auditor to have to do 2 years of audit trail. And the CEO is pressuring to get that done by mid-December. According to him, that should just be perfunctory. The SEC should approve then the dividend because there's nothing else changing. But he did admit the SEC is always capable of surprising. So we don't know for sure, but he expects approval to come mid-December.
Did the CEO tell you that?
It's in the interview. He said it in the interview.
In the interview. So if someone watches the interview,
it's public.
they can get
It's public information.
There you go. It's right there. So just take a few minutes and go Google Williams' interview with the CEO. It was out 2 weeks ago. And he tells you it himself right there. You can answer that question yourself. You don't have to ask We don't have to worry about us giving you misinformation. The CEO just told us that.
But I think it is. I think it's a good bet that it'll be approved by the end of the year because
not worried about that.
because the auditor really needs to get her job done before the end of the year because the company needs to file their paperwork. Anyway, I think it's a good. If it doesn't make it by the end of the year, it'll be January. It's soon. It's soon, and for the rest of your life.
Right. Well, listen, people, the information is right there. The CEO is telling you in a video. It's not us making it up. It's not my opinion on what's going on with Pam Bondi and everyone else is my opinion. The CEO of Finger Motion told us, and that's the guy with complete inside information about what's going on, what the status is, and what he's looking to do. It's right there.
This guy Mark is doing a calculation. It's too complicated, but what happened to MLU and shareholders, and he's right. Just cutting to the chase, if you bought a bunch of stock a few years ago, you now have less than a share, all from $1 million. That's what they do.
That's what I keep trying to tell you. The market cap of your investment, if you take your head out of your ass, this is what they do. They destroy the market cap. That's what Lynn Partners is famous for, destroying the market cap. They destroyed the market cap in this new company, KNW. They gave them money, and the stock went from 90 cents to 20 cents or 18 cents. Benchmark, Lynn, they have rights. They probably expanded the float by 100 million shares with one quick swoop. So for $10 or $12 million, this company destroyed itself.
So Duncan wants to know, so when Finger goes lower this week, which we all know it will, then what would you do?
I would say that you should sell Duncan at the low. That's my opinion. Because you actually have no idea what you're talking about. You don't know how to read the news. You don't know what we're talking about. And obviously you're a paid buffoon that's just here to protect you.
I can't give you advice, but any of these stocks can go down at any time. If you believe in the story, it's an opportunity to add to your position, but it's up to you.
Listen, this stock has been going down for months, and it's due to naked short selling. You saw the short interest go up. We report it every day. Someone is selling counterfeit shares. If you don't understand counterfeiting, then you need to go back to first grade because you're a buffoon. That's it.
All right. So
someone just got caught selling fake guitars. Gibson Guitars, a very famous guitar maker. I forget how many was it, 30 or whatever it was. They caught them and they had them all arrested and confiscated. That's guitars. Here's the equity markets full of trillions of dollars of stolen money by all these characters. And no one's locked anybody up.
So let's use these two numbers. I don't know how many shares. But if you own Finger and you think it's going to run to 500, would you sell? I'm using this guy's numbers. Would you sell enough at $8 to get your original money off the
100%.
table? Explain that.
If you own 1,000 shares and you paid $5 for it, that means you got $5,000 invested, right?
Right.
If you sell 208, you get back 1,600. If you sell 210, you get back another 2,000. That's 3,600. If you sell another 100 at 14, that's another 1,400. You get all your money off the table, and you still have 500 shares to play with. And that's it at $5.
Yeah.
And you can sit there and say, "Oh my God!" You tell your wife or your girlfriend or your mom, "Hey, I put $5,000 into a stock. I got all my money off. I had 1,000 shares. I have 500 shares now. And guess what? The stock is, I don't have $1 at risk. And the stock is now $200. And my 500 shares is worth $100,000 now." And your mom's going to say, "Wow, you a smart kid."
Yeah.
And then if the stock, say you never sell it at 200, and all of a sudden the stock goes from 200 to 0, and you never made another penny in the name. You could always say, after they say, why didn't you sell it? Well, I thought it was going higher. Well, you can say whatever you like. But at the end of the day, you can always say, I never lost a penny. I learned a lesson, all right, but I never lost a penny. How would you like to have a stock go from wherever it is to 200 to 0, and you never sell it, and you say, oh my God, I lost all my money? And it happens a lot. So what I try to tell people is, as they start to go up, make sure you make sales, get your money off the table. You're always happy. Of course, you don't make as much as you always want. We all want to put. Listen, everybody wants to. You want to go into. Listen, go into your bathroom, or go find a mirror in your house and put your finger on the tip of your nose and push it up, and then go look in the mirror. That means you look like a pig, and that's why pigs always get slaughtered, right? So that's why I keep trying to tell you, always take money off the table so you don't become a pig. All right? It's not a horse race. You're investing. You can get on and off. It's not roulette. Once they spin the ball, you can't move your money. This is a game where you can get in and out multiple times. You can get in and out 10 times a day for all I care. But try to always ring the register. If you make a penny on each trade, you're always profitable. Think like that. That's Wall Street. And there's times where you want to let the stock go. Just imagine if you owned Apple. I remember a friend of mine, she bought 5,000 shares of Apple at $20 100 years ago. I never asked her again until one day I saw her. I said, Eileen, I said, do you ever sell that Apple? She goes, no. And she made millions of dollars from it. I asked her, were you in a coma? She goes, no, I just never sold it. I'm just saying that's what happens sometimes. She just held on to it and it turned into the greatest company in the world. We didn't know. Apple was going out of business, going back in time with those old Mac machines, whatever they were. The company was doing garbage at that time.
This gentleman, I think, has 100,000 shares. It might be dollars, but I think it's shares. How would you work out of 100,000 shares? How would you trade it? I don't know the price he paid. I don't know.
I said you paid $4. I'm just picking a number higher. You paid $4. When it goes to 6 to 7, you sell 1,000, 7, 8, 1,000, 9, 1,000 here, 1,000 there, and just keep working up. At 20, you sell 2,000. At 30, you sell 3,000. You get all your money off the table, so you wind up with 60,000 shares, and you got all your money off the table because recouping 40, if it's $4, it's $400,000 you got invested. You can always, as it starts to run, sell your stock and go buy calls. You can do anything. Imagine having 100,000 shares you paid, let's say $4, and the stock's 40. You could sell it. You make 30. You make $3.6 million, whatever it is, right?
Right.
And you say, okay, you know what? I'm going to use $600,000. I'm going to buy the 50 calls and just roll the dice with that money. You got all your money off the table. You bought calls. If the stock goes, you're still long, and you have all your money off the table and plus some. Those are all good things that you're talking about. I hope it works for everybody. We know the information is real. We know it's Jeff Easton. Just think about the woman CEO we spoke to, William, or the CEO we spoke to that said, when they went to Jeff Easton's office, the first thing he said was, hey, it's not me shorting your stock. Can you imagine that? That's what that guy said to his CEO. And the CEO told us to our face. Imagine that this guy, that's the first thing that your funder says to you. Oh, it's not me. I'm not shorting your stock. I would never do that.
Thomas is asking on NDBO, is it worth buying it because it's been shorted so bad? My opinion, before Ham says it, I'll be very quick, 2 sentences. There's a massive short out there. It's under control. So that's 3 sentences. The third sentence, if you buy it, just wait because I think it'll be bought out by a big someday.
I agree on that. And if you want to buy it, buy it. Whatever money you want to toss out the window, don't think about it. Don't think about it. Don't waste your time on message boards. Don't do this. Don't do that. Nothing's going to help. It's at the point where the data's got to be good, and a buyer's going to come for the company. That's what I would look at it like that. Don't buy it, sit there wasting 24 hours a day on a 25-cent stock saying this company needs that.
That's an interesting point. You could probably wait. There'll be enough action around it that you'll probably wait. You might pay more than 25 cents, but at least your money won't be sitting there for a long time.
Right. Don't buy it and expect it to happen in a day. If you believe in it, which I believe in it, I believe they have good data, but what's the outcome? The company's not fighting naked shorts. They're fighting it in a court of law. And my experience with West Christian and the court of law is they're going to settle. West Christian's going to get $1 billion. He's going to take 50% of it. The company's going to get $400 million, and the company's going to come out there. What are they going to do with the money? That's my experience. And that settlement will be signed, sealed, just like Credit Suisse. They'll never tell anybody what happened.
Gretchen, Gretchen, I thought it was an accounting club or something. That makes sense. Looking for a question.
Yeah.
Patel. Okay, so Patel, is it Cash Patel? He said hedge funds and market manipulation need to be investigated. Bondi, DJT, Nunez, Elon. So Doug thinks there's something coming on all of that. It's not really a question.
Read yourself. Yeah, that's a great. You explained it perfect.
Daniel says DBMM's about to move up. I don't know. It might be a trade. I don't want to contradict you.
The woman of the CEO of that company is wonderful. I've spoken to her many times.
Yeah.
She's the one that gave up Alpine for us.
Yeah.
How come the stock is at that number? I couldn't answer it. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
If companies fight against naked shorts, she would be moving off the mat. She's building her company. That's what she believes in. That's what she is. If you speak to her, she'll tell you that.
Yeah.
She's a fighter, and she's a fighter for building a business. I don't have any idea of anybody that would still be shorting that stock at 0.0000001, whatever that is. Put your efforts. If you want to buy that stock, whoever that gentleman was, buy it. Put some blinders on. Never look at it again. And when it gets to a certain level, go check on it every couple of weeks, and don't waste your energy. Life's too short. Move along.
Do they want to squeeze finger before the dividend?
Who's they?
I don't know. He doesn't say.
The company wants to squeeze finger 3 years ago, but with the regulations and the criminals and the SEC protecting the criminals, I don't think they're able to do it. But now there's a new sheriff in town, a new president in town. There's a whole new thing going on now, and everything that was against us is now for us. We have Elon Musk, Cash Patel, what's her name, Pam Bondi, Matt Gates. Everybody's outside now. Elon Musk, everybody.
Austin, what you refer to is arithmetic, not math. Let's see. He's giving examples of prices. It's all right. I don't want to go through them.
Well, listen, everyone. I have a pickleball game I have to go to. I took the time today just to go over my.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, that's great.
I see what's going on. The gentleman that just said Cash Patel wants to go after that. Steve Bannon always said that he was one of Trump's guys. That hedge funds are just standing here and just looting people, making short selling. They want to kill companies. Everyone knows it on the Trump side, knows what's going on. Our guy is Trump. He's here. He's going to force stock settlement. Pat Byrne is my guy. Pat Byrne is sick. He's in Qatar or Qatar, the way you want to say it, and he's in a hospital. And
the gutter.
And I believe he's been diagnosed with cancer before and has beat it. And he says it in his videos. Just go on Twitter. Pat Byrne would be here in a second, wiping these guys out. I'm sure he's advising them somehow on this subject. He said it on his voice call with us. We can't. Life goes on. This poor man is sick.
I know it's tough. It's
you know what?
before you go ahead. Keep talking. I just don't want you to hang. There's one question.
I know. I'm just saying that Pat Byrne is our guy, and I don't want people to think I misled you. The guy is in the hospital, walking around with an IV bag in Qatar. You can see the videos right there.
There's a question. If the court case with Alpine actually came to fruition while GTII doesn't really trade, could there be a squeeze at that point? In other words, if the
I guess in the gray market they could be put bids up and welcome people to sell it. I guess I don't know.
Okay.
Listen, Alpine's been dragging it on for a reason. They're wasting money. They're out of business, really. They're wasting money because they're just trying to buy time, hiding assets. Richard Hoffman will tell you the same thing also. I don't know why they allow this to even waste the court's time. These guys are criminals, from Alpine to Scottsdale Security. These guys are just thugs. Everyone knows they're criminals. Why are they fighting to be? They're fighting not to be shut down, but they're basically out of business already. Everybody knows it.
All right, so you better go smack that ball, boy.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go out and
better run.
Enjoy myself and drag my bum knee around. But anyway, listen, people, I just wanted everybody listen for the 1,000th time. Do a little homework. It's right there. Everything. We're talking about government officials protecting us. Finally, if you're ever going to be upbeat about this whole thing, it's now. All right. What the company is doing, they're doing everything in their power to move things along as fast as they can. And they've proven that they're moving in the right direction. The CEO told us about the dividend. He didn't tell us a year ago. He told us 2 weeks ago. It's right there. Read it yourself. Stocks like DBMM, listen, if you believe in it, buy it. It's less than a penny. Just buy it, put it on the shelf, and close your eyes. Go make money somewhere else. If you like, just keep buying a little of it at a time. I can't help you with those names. I don't know why the stock is less than a penny. I don't know. The woman's great. She's a great CEO, and she would be a CEO that I would follow anytime. I just don't know why the stock is there. I have no idea. And she's worked hard to get it to be compliant. She fought back. She knows all about the Kramers. She knows all about Alpine. She's been a wealth of information. But the stock price doesn't reflect it. Maybe she doesn't understand Wall Street. I don't know. I have no idea. Anyway, everyone, I just wanted to touch base this morning. I was excited about all that. All the information I'm giving you is my opinions, William's opinions. Again, I'm following the political people that are our leaders. And they're telling me, it looks like they're coming for them. And the focus of it is DJT. DJT goes, we all go. And that's all I need to know. All right, William, listen, have a great day, everyone. And I'll speak to you later.
All right, thanks.
Go enjoy your day, William. Thank you.
Thanks, Ham.
Call ended.
Look, I'll try to answer some questions that I have an appointment later, but I'll stay here to answer some of these questions. On Nixie, my theory is that you're buying it in its support, so there's very little risk. But there is risk. I mean, there is risk. Anything can happen. But I also think this is Thanksgiving week. People are still traveling Monday. There'll be pressure. You know, this market for companies under $1 billion, under $5, they just sell stock that doesn't exist. It's constant. It's not fair, and it's not right. And every now and then, one of these snaps its head up. But anyway, I think there might be some selling pressure because there always is, possibly, and you might be able to get it cheaper than 260. On the other hand, the news that Nixie NIXX announced is that they reverse merged a company called just got to have it, with the clever number 2 in the name. And so they're using the AI platform from Logic/Go Logic called RADX, RADIX AI, to upgrade massively the capabilities, the efficiency, the power, and the performance of the software or whatever they have at Just Got to Have It, which is now Nixie. It's got cash, it's profitable, and it's growing. They also say in the news story they're going to turn this company into a $1 billion company. There's something like 13 million shares outstanding. I think they said they're going to raise money, so you can believe it'll get a little bit bigger than that. I don't know how much the short position is, but here's what the criminals do. You get a financing done and they short it. They sell stock that doesn't exist all the way down. I think, and this company has broken out twice in the recent weeks, once on volume, and I think like 50 million shares. I think the stock price is telling you where it wants to go. Looking at the targets, if the technical works, I think it goes to 5 to 8 to 10. To answer that gentleman's question, you should take some money off. Take your original money off so you can't lose. And then where could it go? I'd say 20, 25, 30. But it could go to 40, 50, 60, 80 and higher. I believe this is going to happen over the next 30 days. It could take longer. It's just a prediction, not a promise. It sickens me now that Lou is gone. Actually, I think it's truthful to say what he said, that he didn't recommend buying it higher. I don't know. I don't know if Lou did or not. I wish Lou were still here. I liked Lou. I think Lou had a vision, which I think is going to be proven correct. And so I'm sorry that Lou passed away. I used to quite often say prayers for him. I'll do it again because his name has come up, and for his family. I think Lou did try to share ideas and strategies which were not being addressed on Wall Street. So I pray for Lou. 5 priorities for Nixie. 1 billion. See, now, Mark, I think that 36 months will be shortened. But if they start executing on it, whether the reality is shortened or not, the market may discount that future benefit to the stock price today. Efficiency, the AI, using AI to replace more cumbersome software. Revenues of 10 to 100 million, 40% margin, 40% margin. That's exciting to me. Yeah, AI. Yeah, so sexy Nixie. Sexy Nixie. Sexy Nixie. Thanks, Alan Kamensky. I think Lou was trying to help people. And I really think his vision maybe has been delayed a little bit, but I do believe that there's a power in retail, focusing on these smaller price stocks with research, with a story, because price movement can be profitable and can catch fire. And I think that was his, I don't want to speak to him for him, but I think his idea was by studying specific stocks, we as a group could make our own destiny. I don't want to speak for him, but that's what I think. Lutnick. All right, so I'm sorry for the gentleman who lost money in MMTLP. That wasn't one that I recommended, although I did think it had a real chance of a squeeze after it stopped trading. I just want to emphasize you need to move your shares, which don't exist, of MMTLP to NextBridge hydrocarbons at the transfer agent, not if they just call MMTLP NextBridge in your account. I think that gives you a chance of making money back. On your finger position, I'm a little more subtle, I guess, about how I think that's going to trade. I think Finger is a stock which can double over the next quarter or so, and then whatever's going to happen can happen from there. Ham thinks it can happen really quickly, but you're not out of Finger. You're not out of Finger. But GTI, I think it's going to be difficult to make any money back in that unless you're willing to add money in the future. Not now, not now. But you can establish your losses. Hey, Leanna, you like my hair? Lovely, loverly, loverly, loverly. All right, and then somebody else asked about what happened with the huge. Well, if you listen to the interview, Martin told us all, it wasn't live, but it's distributed. Finger Motion no longer has a relationship with Univest. Why would that be? Because it was a 2-year deal, and they obviously either didn't bring financing or they brought financing which Finger Motion was uncomfortable with. Remember, Finger Motion does not want to do business with what's referred to as toxic debt financiers. I think it's suicidal debt for shareholders and for companies, but that might be it. It also could be the situation where they have alternative financing and they have to pay for that financing. Rather than double pay, they had to break off with Univest. But there's no Univest at all as it relates to Finger Motion at this time. It's a non-event. It was filed as a $300 million shelf registration. So in that sense, it was real, but it no longer is an event. Here's the one. I think the Finger dividend warrant was 7, but that could be changed, and we'll only know once it's approved. They have 10 days. They have to give us 10 days of warning, I guess, before the record date, and any change in that $7 number or the date will show up at that point. I don't know if they plan on changing it. I would assume that they do.
Call for
All
him.
right, Ham's here. Let's see what he has to say. Hello? Yep. Just answering question. Yep, you're on.
All right, I just got a text message from a shareholder. Schwab sent me an email yesterday wanting to borrow my Finger shares. They said they're in high demand, and he said, fuck them.
High demand is a good sign.
Well, that tells you that they're struggling to maintain their short position on the borrowed shares. So if anyone wants to help out, who doesn't think there's a problem on the short side, who does believe there's a problem, just call your broker up and say, do not lend out my shares. And just say, I need confirmation from you. It takes a second. Just like my buddy just said to them, fuck you. All right? I just want to let you know that they're still trying to stay alive. Just force them to not, they can't stay short if they can't borrow the shares.
I'm still waiting for my growth spurt.
That's the real short. I'm not talking about the naked short. I'm talking about the real short. The real short is someone who doesn't have access to do naked short selling. That's their way of trying to just pile on. That's what they're trying to do. All right? I'm running at the place now, so I just give you a heads up what the guy said to me. All right?
All right.
Have a good day.
Thank you. All right. Bye. All right. So everybody, he's going. I have an appointment later, but I want to get something out to you. I have, as I've stated before, I firmly believe that we're going to have this accelerated move to the upside in all the indices starting now, maybe going for a month, maybe going for 3 months, could be longer. But we're going to have the final sell-off, blow-off, not sell-off, blow-off top in a 40-year, 45-year bull market, depending on how you measure it. I'm not going to go through those targets right now because I guess I can. Back in October, I said my projection, I think the S&P will go to 8,000, NASDAQ 25,000, maybe higher, Dow's 60,000, maybe higher, the Russell Index 4,000, maybe higher. But we're going to have years of performance happen before your eyes, if I'm correct. When that happens, don't hold out for the last bit, because after it's over, it's going to be over for 2 decades. Now, that doesn't mean you won't have dead cat bounces that you can make a lot of money in. But the idea of buying, going down to your brokerage house, meeting with some young guy that says, oh, just put it in our Merrill Lynch asset Milan trust bust because it's the best fund and it's opportunity, and you get a kicker, you're going to have a kicker, whatever, that's going to be over with for a while. And that's just unfortunate. That's how the cycles go. But the other thing that's going to happen over the next, I'd say, month to 3 months is I believe precious metals are going to go up. Oil is going to go up, particularly if we're going to war. However, if I'm also correct, and I listen to a lot of different people, that we're going to have a crash landing in the financial markets, maybe as soon as middle of next year, might take longer. There's going to be profits taken in a lot of these. Yes? All right.
Hold on, I'm in an elevator. Hold on.
You're getting a rise out of everyone.
Just remember one last thing. I just said to you that the shorts, the cost to carry, oh, thank you. The cost to carry, all right, is expensive, right? And here's an example that the guy just told you, my friend, that they're high demand and they want to pay anything to get those shares. So when I speak about the cost to carry, keep them alive, it's right there. That's what I explained to you. The shorts are paying through the nose to borrow shares. This is what they're doing. You follow me?
I follow you.
So there's your answer. There's your expense. And that expense keeps going up. The expense goes up, their average cost goes down because they're spending money to maintain the position. All right, listen, I just wanted to refer that to you. Make sure you got that. All right, William.
Got it. Thank you.
Call
Well, perhaps you want me to. Okay. Look, there's some shills here. There's one, I'm not going to give his name, and he's claiming he lost money. It's highly unlikely he lost money. What these guys do, they join in, they want FUD because they short the stock under the exemption of Reg Show. They have very little money, or very little money at risk anyway, and they sell stock without locating it, borrowing it, delivering it. They can get it down and move it around. They can all meet at Harry's bar and chop up the loot, and that's what goes on. Anyway, what I want to tell you is precious metals are also going to go up. My favorite is silver, although palladium and platinum are out there, gold. When people have to sell and as that panics, as the markets go down, I think the stock market is going to round trip 20 years, maybe 25 years worth of up is going to turn that into, I don't know, 90 days of down. It's not going to be fun. And it's going to change everyone from being stock market investors to possibly never investing in the markets again, which will be unfortunate because you can still, it's, as my boss used to say, when there's a bear market, it's no longer, you're not investing in the stock market, you're investing in a market of stocks. But anyway, I want to get to the point. I really think silver is something all of us need to consider. I think it has the upside of a short squeeze. I think in this near term here, it could easily go to $90 an ounce. The previous high on silver is roughly $50. It's one of the only assets out there in this everything bubble which is not trading at an all-time high. If you adjust it for inflation, my guess is you could come up with a number on silver in the $100, $150 range to say it hasn't made highs yet. So I think it's going to go to $90. Don't wait for that. Maybe it goes to 75 or 80. If it corrects, I don't think it's coming back to $30. I think if it, let's say it goes to, I don't know, let's say it goes to 75. I'm wrong. It doesn't go to 90. And then there's this big hard sell-off, which I think will be temporary. I think it'll come back to 45, 48, 43, not back to 30. Maybe only the low 50s. So I just want to emphasize, I really think I really think that maybe as a year-end trade, along with Sexy Nixie or some of these other names, starting to build a position in silver is something important to do. Remember, if you buy some silver, you're going to have to pay a premium, but let me use round numbers. If you buy some silver at 30 and it goes to 40 and you buy more at 40, your average price is always below 40 in that case, and then it goes to 50, you buy some more, your average price is below 50, and it's a way of, you know, having yeah, I think Nixie is my favorite risk reward. I just want to show you something, and I'm going to take this off, and that's an interesting point, Alan. That's an interesting point. I love that beach. Life is a beach. All right, I'm going to take this down. I want to read you something, and I'll come back to answer questions. But I want to just show you this, and let me make sure you can read it. You can. I'll try to do this quickly. This is from the Daily Reckoning. Adam Sharp, silver buying opportunity. This was posted on, I guess, Friday, November 29th by Adam Sharp. Silver buying opportunity. In 2023, global silver production was approximately 26,000 metric tons. Gold production during that year was approximately 3,000 metric tons. So 8 times more silver is mined annually than gold. Well, in 2023, 8.6 times more silver was mined than gold. Yet gold trades at 86 times the price of silver. Gold currently trades for 2,633. I think gold's headed to 3,500, 4,000. But anyway, gold's trading at 2,600. Silver is trading at $31. So it's gold is trading 80 times the price of silver. What explains this disconnect? The primary difference is the fact that central banks buy and hold large quantities of gold. And remember, Russia is now buying silver. Global central banks and governments hold approximately 36,700 tons of gold. They own almost 20% of all the gold which has ever been mined. It doesn't seem like that much. But that percentage, 17%, makes a world of difference in the markets for precious metals. Even single-digit moves in supply and demand dramatically affect hard asset prices. When central banks hold nearly a fifth of the global supply of gold and are buying more gold, the fact that they own a fifth of that gold matters. Gold remains a monetary asset today, and I believe there's a good chance we return to some version of a gold standard in the future. I'm not sure about that, but I think gold will make a big part of how things trade and who makes the new monetary system. Anyway, let's get to silver. Silver, on the other hand, has lost its monetary mojo for now. Yet I love this. I love this. Historically, both gold and silver were money. In fact, silver was more money than gold for periods of time. Look at this. I love this. The ratios. I love this. All right, the gold to silver ratio through history. When this guy was king, Menes, it was 1-3, 1 ounce of gold to 3 ounces of silver. When a little bit later in Egypt, it was 1-9. When Nefertiti's was around, it was 1-2, 1 ounce of gold for 2 ounces of silver. 1,000 years before Christ, it was 1-10. 1 ounce of gold for 10 ounces of silver. When Plato came out and gave his theories, it was 1-12, 1 ounce of gold for 12 ounces of silver. A little after Plato, and I guess into Socrates, you had, and whoever came afterward, you had 1 to 15. And then with Roman times, back when it was a republic, it was 1 to 15. And then Caesar came, and I guess it turned into more of an empire, emperors and all that. 1 for 8, 1 ounce of gold for 8 ounces of silver. Claudius came along. It was 1 ounce of gold for 13 ounces of silver. And then in the UK, I think this king is I'm not sure he's a Tudor. He might be a Stuart. Anyway, 1 for 11. 1 for 11. 1 ounce of gold for 11 ounces of silver. And then when the Medicis were around, 1 ounce of gold for 8 ounces of silver. When I don't know, 1300 versus 1275. I guess there were still Medicis around. 1 for 15. And then Spain discovered silver, and Columbus found the New World. 1 for 10, 1 ounce of gold for 10 ounces of silver. Then China, prior to Columbus, and while China still had a navy, it was 1 for 7. Japan, 1 for 5. I guess Japan went outside of their island. I'm not sure. Maybe this is Shogun. 1 ounce of gold, 5 ounces of silver. And then the king, après moi, les déluges, says, après us, we, the deluge. 1 ounce of gold for 5 ounces of silver. I think this is John Law was around. Germany, Martin Luther had his moment of inspiration while he was taking his morning constitutional. 1 for 10, 1 ounce of gold for 10 ounces of silver. And then the king here, this Spanish Armada, I guess, 1 for 12. And then this rather, let's say this king would fit right in with the LBJTQIAU movement, 1 for 15. And today, it's 1 for 91. 1 ounce of gold is equivalent to 91 ounces of silver. Look at all this history. That's 5,000 years of history. Is there another period in time where the gold-silver ratio looks like this? As you can see, the historical ratios were more proportional to the relative scarcity of these precious metals in the ground. His quote is 1 year, 1 for 8. Historically, that actually was more like 1 for 12 to 1 for 16. And with the exchequer of the UK setting the exchange for pound sterling, it was called pound sterling silver, that was set at 1 for 15 and a half. So 1 ounce of gold to 15 and a half ounces of silver. But anyway, regardless, not 80. For much of history, gold was used for large purchases such as real estate, and silver for everyday expenses. Up until 1964 in the United States, silver was an important part of US coinage. This gentleman, let's get his name again, Adam Sharp, believes that eventually silver will also reemerge as a monetary asset. Individual investors will catch on that we are headed for a financial reset. They will want to put their money into something analog as opposed, I guess, to bit. A hard asset which cannot be hacked, but some people will want something with more upside than gold while still being a precious metal. Silver fits the bill beautifully. Demand for silver today is booming, but not for monetary purposes yet. The last Silver Institute report, physical investment demand for silver is dropping. The forecast is for a 15% decline to a 4-year low of 208 million ounces in 2024. Coin and bar sales are on track for a 40% decline, which is the lowest level since 2019. This is because of an absence of new crises. Industrial demand, however, is still soaring. Industrial demand will rise by 7%, primarily driven by green energy, and particularly in China. ETF demand is rising, partly to hide the large short positions, but demand for silver in exchange-traded funds are expected to rise 8%. Silver is running record annual deficits in terms of physical supply, and that deficit is expected to continue, which I've shown you before. When physical silver investment turns the corner, Adam Sharp expects fireworks. With industrial demand primarily electronics, war, AI, computers, and solar panels, it only takes a little growth from investment demand to send the metal much higher. Sustained inflation, bank crises, sovereign debt default. Banks have massive unrealized losses in fixed income. They also have some gains, which I'm not sure people realize. Interest rates are rising despite Fed rate cuts. Rates could come down in a correction, but he's right. Mortgage rates in particular are going up. Foreign trade. Silver performed remarkably well during the first inflation wave over the past few years. And remember, deflation is a risk. In 2020, silver bottomed at $12 an ounce and today trades at $31. The current correction offers a buying opportunity. All right, let's come back and see your questions. We'll see what, I think I've given the shills quite a bit of time today, but let's start here. I remember I was there. Who's going to be paying your money back? Well, I imagine that you've made a lot of money shorting stocks. So are you going to pay us the money back that we lost in so many trades? All right, I remember this one too. Yeah, I think you might get a nice price on Nixie over the next days. And of course, during tax loss season, it's a good time to average in on Finger. And nothing I say, as you know, is financial advice because I don't know you guys individually. Short squeeze gains should go, I believe, into silver. It could be gold, it could be platinum, it could be something you know. Like you know that, men are going to start wearing silk stockings or something. That's just a joke. Yeah, so just to be clear, my feelings about silver are not day to day. Obviously, this gentleman is a day trader, and he's probably someone that sells stocks he doesn't own, but he's used to being in that day trading motion. You got to be ready for day trading, but that's not why I make recommendations. I think this is a non sequitur. I don't think that's clear at all. Our debt is 36 trillion, and it's going to grow to 50 trillion, even 100 trillion. It's probably going to grow under Trump. What Trump offers is bringing business back here, free markets, factories, and we can grow again. That's going to be reindustrialization of the United States. It's going to be re-commoditization. Commodities are going to be back in favor. And that's so I don't agree with that. I also think the most likely thing to, other than war, which I hope we don't go into, the most likely thing to rescue the US dollar, war will be tried, will be a repricing of gold and probably special drawing rights. And Jim Rickards, whose book I'm reading, I think his most recent projection for gold has nothing to do with Trump. I saw two numbers, 23,000 and 27,000. Let's just use 20,000, and let's use 80 to 1 on the gold to silver ratio. So 20,000 divided by 80, it's $250 on silver. So yeah, this year large caps have been the way to go, no question. I like CVX, and I also way back when, for a few weeks, mentioned Costco. I've stopped talking about it because I think it's really expensive now. But I think people who bought that make money. So anyway, I'm going to wish everyone best of luck. Happy Thanksgiving. Thanks for being here. And let's pray for peace. Let's all pray for Lou today. Maybe that'll help him in heaven. And enjoy the rest of the Thanksgiving Sunday. And I guess you'll be watching football. I'm watching where Juan Soto's going to go. I wish the Nationals got him, but if I had to guess, he's going to the Mets, and it'll be over $700 million, and it'll be 15 or 16 years, 20 years even. All right. We'll catch you on the flip side. Thank you, Catherine. Thank you, Catherine. Appreciate it. Cheers.